Hello, everyone. Welcome to the News Browse News broadcast. According to a report by Global News, a growing number of tech companies and privacy-focused service providers are warning they may withdraw from Canada if the federal government's proposed lawful access legislation, Bill C-22, is passed. Prominent platforms including Signal and DuckDuckGo, along with virtual private network, VPN providers like NordVPN and Windscribe, argue that the bill would compromise user privacy. Under Bill C-22, companies could be forced to retain metadata for up to a year and build capabilities for law enforcement to access private user data. Tech giants like Apple, Google, and Meta have also raised alarms, stating that these requirements could force them to weaken encryption and create security backdoors. Although Public Safety Minister Gary Ann Dasangeri announced that amendments would be introduced to clarify that breaking encryption will not be required, he confirmed that the one-year metadata retention period remains non-negotiable. Meanwhile, advocacy groups and researchers from Citizen Lab are calling for the metadata retention provisions to be scrapped entirely. According to a report by CTV News, the British Columbia Prosecution Service has announced that independent legislator Jordan Kealy has been charged with sexual assault. The allegations date back to a period between January 1 and September 20, 2024, prior to his election in October 2024, representing Peace River North. The alleged offenses took place in Fort St. John. To ensure impartiality and avoid any potential improper influence in the administration of justice, Vancouver lawyer Gail Barnes was appointed as a special prosecutor on February 9th to oversee the Prince George R. CAMP's investigation. Kealy was officially charged on Wednesday and is scheduled to make his first court appearance in Fort St. John on July 6. He has not yet responded to requests for comment. Kealy is the second sitting BC legislator currently facing criminal charges, following former BC Conservative An Chan, who was charged in March with assault. According to a provincial notice obtained by CTV News, the Toronto District School Board, TDSB, is planning to eliminate 792 positions for the upcoming school year. The cuts are primarily driven by a declining student enrollment, with the board expecting approximately 8,000 fewer students. While the document details a massive reduction, TDSB spokesperson Ryan Bird clarified that the actual number of employees losing their jobs will be significantly lower. Through retirements and the filling of existing vacancies, the final number of affected staff is expected to be closer to 240. Despite this, education unions are raising serious concerns over the impact on students. John Weatherup, president of COPE Local 4400, warned that nearly all of the board's 500-plus schools will be affected, citing the gutting of outdoor education and the elimination of 15 diagnostic kindergarten classes for children with special needs. Bumping notices have already been sent out to secondary school teachers for the first time since 2019. Ontario Education Minister Paul Calandra acknowledged the frustration surrounding the annual surplus process, but maintained that the province is facing an overall teacher shortage. According to a report by the Canadian Press, Canada's federal budget watchdog forecasts that Ottawa's annual deficits will be significantly deeper than previously projected. Annette Ryan, the parliamentary budget officer who assumed her role in April, released her office's first economic and fiscal updates since her appointment. The report indicates that annual deficits will average $4.6 billion higher than what the federal government projected in its spring update. For the current fiscal year, the Budget Office expects the deficit to reach $71.8 billion, which is approximately $6.5 billion higher than Ottawa's spring projection. Ryan attributed the deeper deficits primarily to lower than expected income tax revenues and higher program expenses. Crucially, the update highlights that the federal government has less than a 1% chance of maintaining its key fiscal anchor, which commits to shrinking the deficit as a share of the economy, GDP, every year. While the deficit to GDP ratio is projected to decline over a 5-year horizon, the probability of achieving a continuous annual reduction is extremely low. According to CTV News, Ontario Premier Doug Ford has strongly rejected U.S. President Donald Trump's rhetoric suggesting Canada could become America's 51st state. Ford declared that Canada is a proud sovereign nation and its independence is not for sale. Trump's comments came after reports indicated Canada had slipped into a technical recession. The U.S. president posted 51st state on social media, a remark later shared by the U.S. ambassadors to Canada. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney has acknowledged the economy's weakness, but stopped short of calling it a recession. During a press conference, Premier Ford insisted that Canada would remain independent regardless of current economic challenges. He argued that Ontario's economy is uniquely resilient and better positioned than many others to withstand Trump's tariffs and trade policies. Highlighting recent job figures, Ford pointed out that Ontario added over 42,000 jobs in April, while the rest of Canada lost 18,000, outperforming the United States on a population-adjusted basis. Ford vowed to fight every day to protect Canada's sovereignty. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.